movies have plenty of tricks up their sleeves to scare the hell out of you. In-your-face jump scares, blood and guts that make you squirm. But sometimes the most chilling moments aren't screaming in your face, they're happening in the shadows. What if the real horror is right there, lurking in the corner out of focus, barely noticeable until it's too late? Or you were focusing on the main action and missed something happening in the background. These are our absolute favorite kinds of scares. The subtle ones. The things happening in the background that you easily miss. They make scenes 10 times scarier if you catch them and just as creepy if you don't. That's the genius of a director who knows how to play with your mind and who cares about the viewer's experience, actually putting in an effort to reward the viewer for being immersed into the movie. This is also why Mike Flanagan is our favorite horror director, as his shows, Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor, are well known for putting ghosts in the background in many of his scenes. Can you imagine wanting to put in the effort to put so many ghosts in the background of so many scenes, knowing 99% of the audience will miss it? That's called loving his craft and why we love him back. In this video, we're digging up our favorite hidden horrors. The blink and you'll miss it scares hidden in plain sight. How many of these did you notice on your first watch, and which ones still haunt you? Let us know in the comments below.
Let's start with the ones we believe most people have already noticed, and the first one is the one we almost felt made the whole pay attention to the background mainstream again. The movie we are talking about is, of course, Insidious. In the movie, the Lambert family, after experiencing a lot of terrifying supernatural events, decides to move in hopes that that will be the end of it. It all seems peaceful, but Lorraine soon discovers that whatever is haunting them has followed them to their new home. While taking out the trash, she notices a strange boy dancing in their living room. But what the viewers might have missed was the little boy standing in the laundry room facing the corner of the room. The moment is but a split second, but those who noticed it, especially if you grew up with the Blair Witch, that split second gave you chills to the bone.
The second on the list, which is the other scene where we assume most people did notice it. If not on the first viewing, then at a later time. This is from the remake of It from 2017. When Ben is at the library trying to read up on the history of Derry, the pictures in the book starts to become more and more twisted as it zooms in on the boy's head in the tree. We're gonna be honest and say we did not see this in our first viewing as it's easily missed, but Pennywise is lurking in the background in this scene. If you pay attention to the background, you can see one of the old lady turning towards Ben as he starts reading the book. And even if it's blurry, you can clearly see the ominous smile on the lady's face as Pennywise is manipulating the book to scare Ben. This is a really good example of a scene that works as it is, but gets 10 times scarier when or if you notice what's going on in the background.
For the next entry on the list, we are going to give you a 3-in-1. When it comes to horror movies, we strongly believe Asian horror movies are in many ways superior to most Hollywood movies when it comes to storytelling and creating horror without the use of jump scares. They more often than not let the moments of horror sink in and let them linger enough for your body to react to it rather than just a quick flinch. One missed call even opens the movie with such a scene. Even though it's not necessarily a moment you will miss, there is a significant difference in noticing the hand straight away than as it disappears. Another quick moment that passes by is from the movie Ghost Mansion, where for just a brief second you notice a woman in red standing outside the store. If you put the pieces of the puzzle together throughout this particular segment, you know what this means, and it makes the whole scene so much scarier. But the scene we wanted to talk about is a scene from the movie The Eye. And no, not the horrible remake with Jessica Alba, but the good one from 2002. In this particular scene, Wong, the main character, sits on a train together with her friend, and there doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary happening. As this is a blink and you'll miss it moment, it is very easy to miss what is happening in the background. But if you do pay attention and you do see it, you can never unsee it. It is as creepy as it gets.
The next entry on the list is a movie we would almost guess most people didn't even know there was anything happening in the background, and that movie is Longlegs. When we first saw it, we didn't notice anything out of the ordinary during the movie, but the movie's director, Osgood Perkins, has later come out and described that the devil was indeed lurking in the background through the entire movie, even pointing out when and how. Showing himself as a shadowy figure with big horns in the shape of a goat, it's very easy to miss him in most scenes. We got to admit that it is pretty cool that Perkins put that much effort into putting the devil in the background on so many occasions throughout the movie, and we praise him for that. But that still can't save the movie from being absolutely horrible. Yes, we said it. We hate this movie. Sue us.
Next up, we have Oculus from 2013. Directed by Mike Flanagan, the master of background horror himself. As we mentioned already, he is by far our favorite horror director right now, and we also mentioned how both Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor has so many ghosts put into the background. And you know what? We're just gonna digress from the list for a bit and mention our favorite background ghost from Haunting of Hill House. The scene is when Hugh Crane, the dad, is trying to remove some bricks from a brick wall in the basement. If you pay close attention to the background, you can see an extremely scary ghost girl peeking up from behind some boxes in a corner. And in the next scene, she has creeped even closer, looking at Hugh from around the corner. It is so creepy, and it is so easy to miss. Anyway, back to the list. The movie we are talking about is Oculus. The movie itself has surprisingly few blink and you'll miss it scares, and honestly we just know about this one. In this scene, a young Tim is watching TV when all of a sudden it seems the TV is losing its signal and the picture is lost, just showing a static TV screen. It all goes by so fast it is almost impossible to notice that on several occasions the picture on the TV flashes to the face of an adult Kaylee seemingly screaming. If you don't see it, it doesn't really matter, but if you do see it, it is creepy as hell.
There is no denying that Midsommar is a horror movie with a lot of symbolism. You could argue the whole movie is all about symbolism, something it effectively shows through a series of disturbing scenes built on psychological and emotional elements. In the beginning of the movie, we witness Danny's sister Terry committing suicide as well as killing their parents by filling the house with carbon monoxide. The sight of Terry having to stuff the tube into her mouth and taping it shut is horrifying enough as it is. But then the movie decides to pour salt on the wound by subtly reminding you of what happened as Danny walks past the field in Sweden. If you pay close enough attention to the background, you will notice that the forest in the background portrays Terry's fate, as if not seeing it once was enough for a lifetime.
You could argue that Sunshine isn't really a horror movie, and we could agree, but then again, it does take place in space, and nothing is more scary than the vast empty void of space. And you could argue that the last half of the movie is in fact a true horror movie. The scene where Kappa realize they are no longer alone on the spaceship must be one of the most horrifying moments ever. Can you imagine something scarier than being on a spaceship, being told there is someone else on the ship with you? And when you ask, who is it? You get this answer.
Icarus.
Yes.
Who's the fifth crew member?
Unknown.
But anyway, the scene we wanted to mention is when the crew of Icarus 2 enters the seemingly empty ship of Icarus 1. I remember May's face the first time she saw this scene. As the flashlight points towards the camera, a brief flash can be seen. You almost brush it off as being a glitch or something, but then it happens again and you're like, what the fuck? Then it happens yet again, and that's when you start to realize there is something freaky going on, and that train of thought is exactly what May was experiencing as well. And something as simple as showing these pictures flashing on the screen for a millisecond, even when the motives of the pictures are nothing sinister, it is so effective, making you feel unsafe and uncomfortable. Later in the movie, we do realize that the flashing images on the screen was in fact the faces of the crew members of Icarus 1. Well, that didn't really help with the creepiness. A little editor from Future Chris. While I was gathering footage for this movie, I actually, and I swear to God, just happened to stumble upon a blink and you'll miss it moment that I've never seen before. In this scene, Cassie is walking around the ship, and in the background here, you can see the 5th crew member sitting in the background. Holy shit, I've never noticed that before.
The next entry on the list is an Australian found footage horror movie by the name of Lake Mungo. After their daughter disappears and is later found dead, a family starts experiencing paranormal events in their home. Shortly after, their daughter starts showing up in pictures on video clips, and throughout the video, we are presented with this footage. Now here is a twist. As we are shown these pictures of Alice, which is the daughter's name, we are pointed to where she is. Therefore, there are no actual hidden blink and you'll miss it moments in the movie. As well as later learn that the footage was faked by a boy named Matthew. Now here's another twist. Even though we are shown where Alice is in the pictures and video footage, during the end credits we learn that Alice was in fact in the background lurking. Just not where you first thought. So it's like a double trickeroony pulled by the director. Thankfully, the end credits do in fact show you these moments that you most likely missed during the movie's runtime, which is a nice gesture.
Alright, next up is from one of the greatest horror movies ever made, the masterpiece from Tobe Hooper himself, 1982's Poltergeist. Poltergeist has a lot of memorable scenes that has stood the test of time, from the classic shot of the static of the TV, which by no means is epilepsy friendly, to the door jump scare and the tree outside the kid's room. But the director did actually hide something in the background of one of the scenes, a detail that is very hard to notice, but for some odd reason, it's so freaking creepy when you know about it. As the paranormal events in the house amps up near the end of the film, in one scene Diane is sent rolling up the walls of her bedroom, but something in this scene has changed. On her dresser she has 3 photos, a photo of her husband Steven, a photo of Carol Ann, and a photo of what seems to be her other daughter Dana. When Diane is pulled down on the floor again, if you pay attention to the background, the picture of Carol Ann has changed, and it is fucking creepy.
The last entry on the list is from the Japanese horror movie Ju-on, later to be renamed by Hollywood under the name of The Grudge. I'm taking a guess by saying most of you probably haven't seen the Japanese version, though you absolutely should. Near the end of the movie, in this scene, the main protagonist Rika, who works as a geriatric nurse, is taking care of this old man. We see the old man is playing peekaboo, and you get the sense he is just an old crazy person. As the scene keeps going, the man is still doing the peekaboo, and it sort of strengthens the suspicion that he is just an old crazy nut. But then, in a literal blink and you'll miss it moment, you see why he is playing peekaboo. As the doors open in a brief second, you can see Toshio, the ghost boy standing next to the old man, and the reason for him playing peekaboo. And that was the end of the list. Are there any blink or you'll miss it moments you remember that was not mentioned on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, we will be back next time with something completely different.